While nothing eventful happening that day, he decided just to walk around the neighborhood. He was thinking about trying to just stay to school to study, but there's nothing there to do, considering that all the subject matter he already knew. He was thinking about going back home, but all that is there is just more aggravation and more boredom. So he decided to go around the neighborhood just to see how things were. And in like 10 minutes of walking, he discovered a very interesting park. He remembered actually being there, but he couldn't actually get the memories straight. All he knew was that there was a battle there, and all he remembered is that he won, but not to know who he fought. He decided to enter the park and actually sit on a swing, just moving slightly, not too hard, but not too light, just enough to move. Just thinking and wondering about his broken memory. He didn't even understand what happened there. All he knew is that he did fight, but the unfortunate part, he didn't know who he fought or why he fought. All he knew is that he won, but not knowing who it was or what they were fighting for. Just when he thought he was piecing something together, he heard his name, Terry. He then looked toward the voice and noticed May was sitting right there next to him. He wanted to wave, but he didn't really bother trying to do so. "Hey," he asked, not knowing what she wanted. This is the first time he's ever seen her outside of school. But by that logic, this is the first time he met any of his classmates or any student outside of school. He didn't know how to react to her, considering that all he knew is that, well, she's not really an enemy, but to be honest with you, he couldn't consider her as a friend either. "Is this seat taken?" she asked. "If you want to, you can sit on the swing all you want to. I don't own it. I don't even own this park. All I did is came here and sat down," he responded. She then sat down and was wondering, "Why did you come here?" she asked. He then looked up at the sky and said, "I don't know. All I know is that this place was calling me. I have empty memories of this place. I don't know what happened, but all I knew was there was a fight here. I don't know who I fought or why we fought. I just know that we fought," he actually explained. She then looked at him and said, "How long ago was it?" He then looked at her, but then looked back at the ground. "I don't know," he answered. She then looked at him and asked, "What happened to your memory?" He then looked at her and said, "It was a while ago, so my memory's a little bit skewed. Everybody's memory goes blank every now and again." "Can you remember things that you've done when you were a kid?" he asked. She then responded and said, "Well, I do remember certain things. I do remember this park, but I don't remember much that came out of it. All I knew is that I was here and I had fun." He then looked, then shrugged. "Well, some people's memory is different than others." She then looked at him and said, "Look, I understand that you don't really like the school, but I think you can be a really big help to actually helping our reputation, you know?" she asked. Terry looked at her and said, "Why should I help your reputation? Why should I help this school's reputation? All it seems is that there's a bunch of people who are bullying people. I only came to the school because my family recommended me to come here." She then looked at him and said, "Look, I understand that you don't like the school, technically speaking, but it would help. This planet doesn't really like us. All they do consider us bullies." Terry then looked at her and said, You think that people don't see you as bullies? Considering I'm the only one in school who doesn't have a weapon, and all I've been doing is actually just answering questions, and all the students has done is just stare at me like I'm some kind of phenomenon. Like they never seen a person without a weapon actually come there." May then stood up and said, "Well, what do you think? Why do you think that they would actually act that way? The rule stated that everyone who actually has a weapon has to come to that school. You're the first one that we've seen that doesn't have a weapon. We don't know if you're going to develop one or not." Terry then looked at her and said, "I honestly don't care about having a weapon. Look at you guys. I'm actually stronger than most of the people in the school, even without one." May then questioned that. "How is it that you're stronger than a lot of the students anyways? Most people who fight a person who has a weapon, they don't really stand too much of a chance. In fact, it takes at least 8 people, normal people, just to do anything to actually do much damage to us. And that's not saying if we even go full strength. I mean, if we were to actually use our weapons, I don't think that even 7 people will actually be able to take us out, depending on what kind of weapon and how strong they are. So how is it that you, out of all people, can do that? Terry then looked at her. Are you serious? My family is a part of the 300 weapon people. Don't you think they would have actually trained me? I mean, seriously. When it came to my training, most normal people would have probably died. She then looked at him and said, "Were your training that brutal?" He then looked back at her and said, "What do you think? A person with the weapons of 300, they can withstand a whole lot of punishment. Don't you think that my family thought I could withstand the same thing just to get one of the weapons?" "Okay, when you say get a weapon," she asked, "do you think that the weapons just come from some kind of store that you just buy them?" Terry then looked at her and said, "No, I already know that that's not it. I already know that the weapons don't just come out of thin air. And I know that you don't buy them either. The weapon calls upon you, and you have to be the person who actually gathers that energy to actually awaken it." She then said, "Are you sure that's how the weapons work? Because to be honest with you, that seems a little bit off. Look, it's the way I think of it. It's not the way anybody else would think of it. It's the only way I can actually explain it to myself." "Well, if that's the way you explain it to yourself, it kind of seems like you have a very off-putting way of explaining it. Because it kind of seems that you think that you can either buy it, or if you got enough strength or energy or something, or a thing, that it just pops up out of nowhere." She asked him. "Look, I know that that's not the right way, Terry," he said. "But it's the only way it makes sense. I don't really know the way you gather or you actually harness the weapon or anything. All I know is that when a certain time comes, you actually summon a weapon. That's it. That's all I know. I'm not even 100% sure on I know where the weapons came from, but I don't even know how it actually chooses a person. I mean, besides, does it just choose a person at random, or is there like a list? What is it?" "That's something I don't know," May answered. "No one knows on how the weapons choose you. All we know that it chooses you. We can be here all day trying to figure out the theory, but unfortunately, we really can't answer that. No one can. The only one who can answer that is the person who created them, and he's long been past gone." Terry then sighed. "Well, there's no point of actually thinking about it now." May then rushed to him and said, "Wait, where are you going?" "Home," Terry answered. "I just feel like I just got a headache, so I'm going home to at least get me something to cure it." May then looked at him and said, "Look, I understand you really don't like the school, and I understand that the students aren't treating you like, well, royalty is what you would think." Terry looked at him and said, "Royalty? Royalty isn't the one thing I wanted. I actually just wanted to stay at my old school, but unfortunately, my parents actually wanted me to transfer to that school. It's not like I wanted to go, it's just what happened. It's not like I had a choice with it, you know." May then looked at him and said, "Well, while you're here, why don't you just try your best to help us? We can help you, and you can help us." "Help me?" Terry asked. "Help me with what?" May looked at him and said, "Help you earn or gather or whatever how you would say, get one of the weapons." Terry then looked very confused. "How on earth are you going to get me a weapon? How can you help me get a weapon? Something that I haven't done yet. Tell me, what can I do? Tell me that. Do you know any way for me to get one?" May then looked like she was just very confused. "Well, I don't know yet, but we can try to figure out. Maybe if we figure out how the weapons can be conjured, maybe we can help others to conjure them too. Never know. You could actually duplicate a weapon. No one's saying that it's impossible." Terry then had a very confused look on his face, but he was kind of curious. "Do you think that the weapons can be duplicated?" he asked. May said, "Well, it's possible. There's nothing that's impossible. I mean, the weapons do harness from the person, I think. who's to know? And who's to say? Maybe somebody can have the same weapon as someone else. I don't think it's impossible, if that's what you're thinking. Terry then looked at her and said, well, this is the first time I actually ever thought about that. I never thought that they could duplicate a weapon or someone can harness the same weapon as someone else. Has there ever been any history of someone doing that? May just looked very confused but very excited. Well, there is nothing in the history book saying that they have, but there's nothing in the history book saying that it's forbidden. All we know is that there's 300 types of weapon. But for our knowledge, or without it, maybe there could be someone who had a duplicate weapon that actually had somebody else's. Maybe someone had the same weapon as someone else. Who knows? I really can't determine. Who knows? Maybe there's someone who has two of the weapons. It's impossible for us to know without us trying to figure it out. Terry looked at her and then, surprisingly, you know what? I'll help you. I'll help out the school. This seems very intriguing, you know. Really? May looked in surprise, with eyes happy. Are you sure you'll help us? Well, Terry answered, it seems like someone has to help you guys out, or else you guys will be, technically speaking, screwed. Not only that, but I do want to see how this experiment works. If you even know how to summon a weapon. I'm not even 100% sure, and to be honest with you, I don't even think it's even possible. But how would we know without actually trying, as like they say? Good. May then looked at him and actually pulled her hand out for him. How about we shake on it? You help us and we'll help you. You help us with our reputation and I'll help you try to summon a weapon. Does that sound good? Terry was reluctant for a second, but then decided to extend his hand and shook it. You know what? Fine. I'll do it. This should be a very fun experiment anyways.